Now we move on to downloading and installing the developer application called Xcode. This program has been created by Apple to allow us to use all the latest tools and technology to create amazing iOS applications. Now there's two ways to get Xcode. If you haven't purchased a developer license, then I'm afraid the only way for you to get Xcode is through the Mac App Store. But the sad thing about this is you'll only have access to an older version of Xcode. One of the benefits of being an Apple developer and having a license is access to the latest Xcodes. Now if you don't have a license, when you search for Xcode on the Mac App Store, the only one available to download is currently Xcode 6.4. But don't let that put you off, because at the time of this course being created, Xcode 7 is currently in its beta stages, and the whole of this course has been created for Xcode 7 using Xcode 7. Now if you have a developer license, then there's a different way to how you actually download Xcode 7. But early September you should see Xcode 7 on the App Store for users who basically do not have a developer license just yet. So if you've got one or you haven't got one, always make sure that you have downloaded the latest version of Xcode from the Mac Store, even if it is an older one as it is right now, 6.4. Because when Xcode 7 becomes available to the public, then within the Mac Store you'll then get a notification saying that Xcode needs an update, and you can get it there and then on day one of release. Now if you have your developer license and you have purchased it, then you have access to Xcode 7, which is currently at the time of recording in its 4th or 5th beta if I'm not mistaken. Now do not worry if you do not have a developer license, because early September that's when it will be released to the public, where you don't need a developer license to get it. But also it's a great way to make sure that you have a backup version of Xcode before the beta becomes released. But don't go off thinking that because you can't get access to Xcode 7 because you don't have a developer license that you won't be able to develop. This is not the case. You should still be able to take all these lectures and still use them in Xcode 6.4, because it should have all the support that Xcode 7 is about to be given. Okay, so again, like I said before, if you have your developer license, you want to go to www.developer.apple.com. Then you want to go to the resources section of this site and then select Xcode from the platform and tools. You're then greeted with some information about Xcode 7, where you can go down to learn more about it and all the great stuff that it kind of offers to the new versions of iOS and the new Swift 2.0. And to get it, we just simply select download, where you're then greeted with two options. You can download the latest version of Xcode which is currently out, which is 6.4, which you can now view in the Mac Store, which that supports Swift 1.2. Now Xcode 7 Beta 5 here supports Swift 2 and more kind of the latest operating systems which handle iOS 9 and all the capabilities that has. Now again, it's currently in its pre-release beta, so you can get it as a beta and download, and again just be aware that it is a beta, so there is a few problems and kind of reliability issues, but early September is when it's going to get its general first public release, so that's when you get a full featured version of Xcode 7. But like I said before, the whole of this course has been created using the betas of Xcode 7. So all you need to do is simply select download. That will start downloading, and then follow instructions to install it into your applications on your computer. Now if you already have a developer license, in the next lecture we're going to be talking about how to download and install your developer certificates to Xcode itself. If you're yet to purchase your developer license, then just skip to the next lecture where we talk about the different project types Xcode has to offer.